When we, the general public, are put in the same position as the residents of the Gaza Strip, what will we think then? Greetings everyone. Today, we unravel the complexities of the Middle East conflict through the lens of the Arab world. We'll explore the origins of the Jewish and Palestinian claims to the land, the rise of Hamas, and the recent escalation of tensions that have sent shockwaves across the globe. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. October 7, 2023, Hamas attacked Israel. The conflict between the two sides shows no signs of abating. What in the world is the purpose of Hamas? And how do the Arab countries at the center of the problem view this incident? The relationship between Jews and Palestinians is historically complex. According to the Bible, long ago, two peoples, the Canaanites and the Philistines, lived in the area around present-day Israel. Historical accounts, including biblical records, refer to the establishment of the Kingdom of Israel in the region, known today as Palestine, around 3,000 years ago, which is considered by some as divinely bequeathed. Later, however, it came under the rule of the Roman Empire, and the Jews were dispersed. Jews migrated to various parts of the world, and continued to be persecuted due to cultural and religious differences. At the end of the 19th century, a movement began in which Jews tried to regain their safe haven, known as Zionism. In other words, Jews claimed that Palestine was their homeland, based on biblical writings. However, there are many Palestinians who oppose this. This is because to acknowledge this would be to admit that the Jews have a deep connection with the land of Palestine. And no matter what the history, people who live there now cannot simply vacate the land they now live on. In 1948, post-World War II, the United Nations resolution led to the creation of the State of Israel within Palestinian territories, which became a new home for many Jewish people. Opposing this decision, neighboring Arab countries, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon invaded Palestine and began fighting Israel. 1948-1973 saw a continuing struggle between Jews and Palestinians for a homeland. However, this struggle essentially ended in victory for Israel. This was due to the support of Western powers, such as the United States, Britain, and France. Over time, the territories inhabited by Palestinians were reduced to two main areas: the Gaza Strip and the West Bank as known today. What is Hamas? Established in December 1987, Hamas is an organization that advocates for Palestinian independence. Initially focused on social welfare, it later developed an armed wing. The organization's stance is based on a strict interpretation of Islamic principles. In other words, it opposes reconciliation with Israel and the creation of a Palestinian state in coexistence with Israel. They are willing to use force to drive the Jews out of Palestine. The militant activities of Hamas, especially the suicide bombings initiated in the 1990s, have drawn condemnation from Israel and resulted in its designation as a terrorist organization by several Western nations. Amidst these tensions, Hamas secured a victory in the 2006 Palestinian elections. This is because Hamas is an organization that has been practicing the Islamic principle of mutual aid, including medical care, poverty relief, education, vocational training, and service activities since before its establishment. Its activities have continued to the present day, and have been strongly supported by the poverty-stricken Palestinian people. However, Israel and the Western countries that support it voiced their opposition to recognizing the Palestinian Authority if Hamas, a terrorist organization, were to join it. In response, a peaceline organization called Fatah tried to oust Hamas. As a result, Fatah took control of the West Bank. In the remaining Gaza Strip, Hamas, elected by the Palestinian population, will take control. Israel perceived a threat when Hamas assumed control over the Gaza Strip. Israel has closed off the Gaza Strip, prohibiting goods and people from entering and leaving the Strip. The blockade aimed to isolate Hamas and curb weapon smuggling into the Gaza Strip. This has led to the Gaza Strip being encircled by barriers, leading some to describe it as an open-air prison. The movement of goods and people in and out of the region is regulated by checkpoints to the north and south, which, when closed, completely restrict passage. The blockade has profoundly impacted the daily lives and job opportunities for the inhabitants of Gaza. Gaza is one of the most densely populated areas in the world, with approximately 2.3 million people currently living on a strip of land about 25 miles long and 6 miles wide. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, 58% of the Gaza Strip population will be in need of humanitarian assistance by January 2023. And many households will be exposed to extreme or catastrophic conditions. The people of Gaza have endured long-standing hardships. Amid these conditions, Hamas launched an attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, which they claim was an effort to challenge the restrictions imposed on the Palestinian population. The attack was carried out despite the clear military advantage held by Israel, supported by Western allies. In other words, this attack is a message to the Arab nations. But why did Hamas attack Israel at this time? This is strongly influenced by the changing relationship between the countries of the Middle East and Israel. The backdrop for this timing is partly due to some Arab countries' recent initiatives to forge improved relations with Israel. For example, in 2020, the UAE has decided to normalize state relations with Israel. And in 2023, Saudi Arabia also began to move rapidly closer to Israel. Speculation suggests that Iran may have supported the recent Hamas attack. Iran does not get along well with Israel, which has close ties with the United States. Iran's basic stance is to return to its Islamic roots in nation-building. Therefore, it positions Israel, which has taken the holy city of Jerusalem, as an enemy of Islam. Iran's support is seen by some as part of a broader strategy to challenge Israeli influence in the region. On October 14, 2023, Iranian Foreign Minister Abdullahian met with Hariya, the leader of Hamas, which effectively controls Gaza, and told him that Iran will continue to cooperate with Hamas, and Foreign Minister Abdullahian also said that the attack by Hamas is a natural reaction from the perspective of the oppressed Palestinians, which Iran's involvement has been suggested. Under these circumstances, how is the Arab world responding to Hamas actions? First is Saudi Arabia, where AFP reported that on October 14, 2023, Saudi Arabia suspended negotiations with Israel to normalize relations and informed the U.S. side. Reuters likewise reported that negotiations were frozen. A Saudi official said, "For the time being, talks cannot continue." It is reported that when they meet again, Israeli information on the Palestinian issue needs to be prioritized. Also on the 20th, Saudi Arabia and the UAE held an unusual summit meeting. To begin with, the two countries have recently been in competition over attracting foreign investment and influence in the oil market. But this latest incident has prompted them to temporarily join hands to deal with the conflict between Hamas and Israel. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed opened the conference by saying, "We support the importance of abiding by international humanitarian law, which categorically rejects targeting civilians in any way, and for any reason, and of stopping military operations against civilians and infrastructure." Next is Egypt. On April 21, Cairo, Egypt hosted a summit meeting of heads of state and government on the conflict between Israel and Hamas. This conference was called by Egypt, which borders Gaza, and was attended by more than 20 heads of state and diplomats from Jordan, Qatar, Spain, the EU, the UK, and other countries, including Palestinian Authority President Abbas and UN Secretary-General Guterres. There, Egyptian President Sisi stated that the only solution to this situation is the creation of an independent Palestinian state. At the same time, he said, "We will not allow Palestinians to take refuge in Egypt beyond the Rafah checkpoint." Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Saud concurred. Now, what is a bit curious here is the phrase, "will not allow Palestinians to take refuge in Egypt beyond the Rafah checkpoint." Certainly, I understand that this is a positive statement, that Palestinians should not be forced to leave their land. Practically, the options for Palestinians to flee are limited without crossing the Rafah checkpoint, the key passage between Egypt and Gaza. If that happens, what will happen to them? Finally, let us focus on the Palestinians in the blockaded Gaza Strip. In response to Hamas attacks, the Israeli military has launched airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. As of April 17, the Palestinian Authority has reported approximately 3,000 casualties. In addition, Israel has completely sealed off the Gaza Strip, cutting off supplies of food, water, energy, and other necessities of life. As a result, the Gaza Strip is running out of water, food, fuel, and other supplies, and there is an urgent need to bring in relief supplies. Nevertheless, the Israeli military has called up more than 30,000 reserves and is massing a large force along the Gaza border. As the ground troops advance on Gaza, Israel has notified approximately 1.1 million residents of the northern Gaza Strip to evacuate to the southern Gaza Strip. This has resulted in an influx of evacuees to the south of the Gaza Strip, causing a shortage of places to sleep and supplies, and a more chaotic humanitarian crisis situation. Although there is a Rafah checkpoint connecting Egypt and the Gaza Strip, as mentioned earlier, it is not possible to go beyond it. Egyptian President Sisi has expressed a position of understanding towards the Palestinian situation while advocating for a practical approach to peace. The checkpoint was temporarily opened on the morning of October 21, and 20 trucks loaded with relief supplies entered the Gaza Strip. Nevertheless, Egyptian NGO representatives have called for sustained humanitarian assistance, asserting that the 20 trucks dispatched fall significantly short of the actual needs. In the clash of national and religious narratives, civilians frequently endure the most direct impact. The more we learn about the complicated Palestinian issue and its history, the more we cannot easily decide which side is better or worse. That is why I believe that this perspective is necessary for us, ordinary citizens, to understand the events happening in the distant Middle East as our own personal affairs. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.